Hello chess friends and welcome to Jozarov chess channel and welcome to the TCEC season 14 super final against Leela C0 and Stockfish. So far we had 6 games, they were all ended in a draw, and in round 7 Stockfish really crushed Leela's King's Gambit, and I think it's really an important and historical moment in chess, because after this game I think the King's Gambit is dead, because you see Stockfish really didn't have any problems in this game to handle Leela's King's Gambit, and I don't think that in the future we'll see maybe Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana, or these top grandmasters playing this King's Gambit, because it's simply not good. I used to play myself this King's Gambit, but of course, you're playing that against weaker players. You try to crush them very fast, and I also had this feeling while I played this King's Gambit that it's really not so good, because you're really weak in your king side, and here in this game Stockfish really showed why you should avoid to play as white the King's Gambit. Let's see now the game. It's really nice game played by Stockfish, and it's really something else. We have very nice tactical elements here, so see this game and have fun while watching it. So e4, e5, and f4. We have e takes f4, knight on f3, knight on f6. Very strong move here already. This is this so-called Schalopp Defense. We have e5 and now knight on h5. This knight on h5 idea is an important thing, because white in some occasion can play this move h4, and it prevents this knight on h5 prevents it, because you can jump with your knight here on g3. Bishop on e2. We have now g5 supporting the f4 pawn, and now castling. H6, we have now c4, and now d6. Very strong move also, because we are really challenging now this e5 pawn, because this e5 pawn is really annoying here, and white has already created some space advantage on the 5th rank, so we want to get rid of this. After d4 we have now d takes e5, and now you see knight takes on e5. Of course, d takes on e5 is not so good, because you get then bishop on c5, and you can also simply trade off the queens and continue the middle game with the simplifications. This will be a very good continuation for black. So that's why knight on e5. We have now knight on f6, because the knight was attacked here by the bishop and the queen. Now b3, and now knight on d7. Again, we are challenging simply this e5. We don't want to have white here the space advantage. We want to get rid of it immediately. So very strong play here by Stockfish. Knight takes on d7, bishop takes on d7, and now bishop on f3, attacking the b7. But this is really not a problem. The b7, Stockfish simply continued with bishop on e7. Bishop takes on b7, and now rook takes on b7. Bishop on f3 again, and now casting. And now the position is really much more simplified, and that was the thing that Stockfish searched in this opening line. Now we have a position in which we have now a perfect coordination by the bishop, by the two bishops and the knight, and we have a space advantage here on the king side, but also a 4-on-2 situation against white's king. So these are now all of these attacking pieces. We are simply going straight forward, and it will try to attack the king. Of course, the main idea is the move g4, and here bishop on b2 was played, and now g4. We have bishop on e2, and now f3. You see how Stockfish gets into the attack very fast now, because he has this huge and good coordination on the king side. He can play simply straightforward. We have g takes f3, and now very strong move g3. This is now something else, because if you take h takes g3, then you get knight on h5, and this is now of course defendable with king on g2, but then you get bishop on h4, and this diagonal in the continuation of the game will be a really important thing here for Stockfish, and also of course this light square diagonal. So these bishops are really well placed here on these two squares. And now if you take simply, then you get queen on h4. If you try to trade off the queens, you get knight on f4, and we have now forced checkmate because you have then simply queen takes on g3, and this will be of course a losing game. So here after g3, Leela tried f4, and Stockfish of course simply took g takes h2, and now king on h1. So the king's idea is here of course to hide, because hide a little bit from black's pieces, because bishop on c6 can be met with d5, or even maybe with bishop on f3. So here Stockfish played knight on e4, rook on f3, and now bishop on g4. And the rook is really trapped here, because no matter where you go with your rook, you'll simply lose the rook or even the queen. If you try maybe rook on e3, then you get knight on f2, and if you try something like maybe rook on f1, then you get knight on g3. So the rook is trapped here, but here Leela played simply queen on c2. We have bishop takes on f3, bishop takes on f3, and now knight on g3 with a check. So okay, white is forced to take the pawn here on h2, because if you play king on g2, then you get h1 the promotion, and here after king on h2 we have now very strong move rook on b6, and very nasty attack now around the white's king, because we have of course the preparation to play the rook on g6, and basically what we want to do is maybe play the bishop here and to liberate the diagonal here for the queen on h4. So that are the main attacking ideas. Of course white can take the knight here on g3, but as I said, these dark square problems around white's king will be really a problem, and here Leela took the knight on g3, but now we have bishop on h4. King on h2 was played, and now comes this idea rook on g6. We have now knight on c3, and you see it's now move 26. Now Leela started to develop the pieces. I think it's a little bit too slow, because this bishop is now really blocked out, and this rook won't play in the continuation of the game. You'll see these pieces will be the problem here for white, although white has maybe two pieces for the rook, but this is not so important now in this game, because this rook and bishop will really not participate in the game at all. So here bishop on g3, king on g2, and now bishop on f4, attacking the king. The king has to move here on f1. If you try maybe king on h1, then you get checkmated with queen on h4. So that's why after king on f1 we have queen on h4 anyway. The threat is of course to create some checkmate threats, or here even bring the rook on e8, rook on f6. That are the main tactical ideas here. Queen on e4, and now queen on h2. The threat is now to play rook on g1, so that's why bishop on g2 was played, and now bishop on e3. If you take the bishop on e3, then you get a simple queen takes on g2, and this will be now very annoying stuff to handle, because if you move the king on the e file, then you get rook on e6. So that's why after bishop on e3, knight on e2 was played, of course to bring another defender here around white's king. But now we have rook on f6 again, the check, and now king on e1, and now rook on e6. Now Stockfish accomplished what he wanted. He now brought both the queen and the king on the e file. Now the rook is really strong here and supports really this e file. Discovered attacks are possible here. Many tactical ideas. So here queen on g4 was played, and now bishop on g5 again, liberating this e5 for the rook, so that's why bishop on f3 supporting here this knight a little bit more. But now the other rook comes into the game, rook on e8, and now we have a perfect battery here on the e file. Very strong attack. You see white's bishop and rook are really not participating in the defense or in the attack. This is now completely winning position for black here. But let's see now the continuation. King on f1. Try to hide a little bit, maybe because this annoying checks by the queen are really something that white has to handle all the time. You see white cannot create the tempo here in order to liberate his pieces on the queen side, so that's why rook on f6. Now we have the spinning threat here of the bishop, of course, with the preparation to play rook on e3. So that's why queen on g2 was played. Leela tried to simplify the position and trade off the queens, but now Stockfish finds a really nice tactical motif here. Rook takes on f3. Of course, queen takes on f3 has to be played, and now rook on e3. Again, attacking the queen. The queen has to go here on f2, but now queen on h3. If you try something like king on g1, then you get a very strong move, rook on e4. This queen and the rook are really dancing now around white's king. So if you try maybe queen on g3, then you get rook on g4. So if you try king on f2, then you have bishop on h4, and now this will be really losing position for white. So that's why after queen on h3, queen on g2, we have queen takes on g2, king takes on g2, and now we have rook takes on e2, and you see now the bishop is hanging. This is now, of course, a completely winning endgame for black. But let's see the continuation. King on f3 was played. Rook takes on b2, and now d5. King on g7. We want to play, of course, with our king in an endgame. c5. Rook on d2. d6, we have c takes d6, and now c6, but of course we can play here simply rook on c2. King on e4 was played, rook takes on c6, rook on e1, and now very strong move, rook on c1, but of course Leela is not interested to trade off the rook. Rook on e2 was played, but now h5. Now we can simply start to push here, because this motif with rook on c1 and forcing white to play rook on e2 was important, because now the rook cannot go here on the square d2 and attack the d6 pawn. So here king on f5 was played, but this is now another mistake by Leela. Here we have forced sequence, rook on c5, king on e4 has to be played. Now we have rook on e5 with a check, and now white is forced to move the king, and of course after trade of rooks we can simply play h4, and in this position Leela resigned, because we have now two pass pawns on the d and h file, and we can also always catch these two pawns with the support of the pawn. The bishop and the pawn can compete, of course, against these two pawns, and we have a completely winning endgame here for Stockfish. So as I said, I think after this game, the king's gambit is really not something that you should be worried about, because here Stockfish really crushed without any problems Leela's king's gambit. But who knows, maybe in 10 or 20 years someone will say the queen's gambit is also a dead opening. So I don't know, we will see what will happen in the chess future, because you see the top computers are playing really something else, and I don't know. I'm really scared also a little bit, because maybe we will have a situation in which the Sicilian won't be good anymore. I don't know what's gonna happen with the chess. I'm gonna continue to play chess anyway, and I hope you'll do also, and I also hope that you enjoyed this game. Meanwhile, you can also watch my Magnus Carlsen video, in which he played a very, very good bullet game. He played with simply one inaccuracy, zero mistakes, and zero blunders. So Magnus Carlsen is now the human computer now these days, and you can also subscribe to my channel, guys. Thanks you for watching, and chess is the best, of course.